Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Inuvik Committee of the Whole meeting. I would just like to acknowledge Inuvik falls within the Gwich'in settlement area, adjacent to the Inuvialuit settlement area, home to the Gwich'in, the Inuvialuit, Métis, other Indigenous people from throughout the Northwest Territories in Canada, and other people that have made Inuvik their home from throughout Canada and throughout the world. All of this makes Inuvik a great place to live. Item number 2, adoption of the agenda. Any changes needed on the agenda? Seeing none. Okay. Item number 3, declaration of conflict of interest or pecuniary interest with any of the agenda items. Councilor Raymond. Opposing one.
I don't know.
A2 and A3.
A2 and A3, all right, thank you. Any further conflict or of interest or pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Public question period. I think we're probably safe on that one. Adoption of the item number 6, adoption of the minutes from the June 24th meeting. Any further changes, corrections needed on those minutes? None. Time. Okay. The update on any of the action items?
Other than what is noted, no other action on our community plan or anything associated with that. The barrier signs, we're looking at our inventory and looking to post them on the bootleg trails. Just a reminder, infrastructure is already aware of the watering of the plants, and Hannah is currently doing the inventory repair and planning on the PV.
Okay. Item number 8, the new business. 8.1. Addition, request for council decision 2026-050, addition to the human rights policy HR 012. Update on what?
So we've taken your feedback into consideration and we have redone the policy on the student bursary, specifically, so it's student and it's returning students from the summer. So as directed by council last time.
Any further questions, comments on the student bursary? Seeing none. 8.2. Councilor Williams, conflict of interest. Request for council. I'm assuming that's decision 2026-051, discretionary use of development permit 26-09. Or what we're going to give wants to give an update on that.
See Peter online, so I will. So the the new subdivision up top, what IRC is proposing in terms of their development requires a couple of variants. It only takes one vote for the variances. What we are looking at is some zoning questions with regard to how the setback is. That's a minor setback, so that's only 10 centimeters. That's not going to be an issue. It's well within Peter's discretion, our development officer's discretion for that. The other two are a little more specific to the houses themselves. And one is that they are proposing some of the houses to be manufactured building components. And similar to what just happened with GTC when they were building theirs, we are still having to work off of the 2015 bylaw, which doesn't recognize manufactured buildings other than trailers. So what we are proposing is that it is a discretionary use, that it be included, particularly in anticipation of further development, and the fact that we've already set precedent by allowing the other manufactured homes to be present in that zone area. So that's the first one. The second one is more to do with the size of the homes. And again, this is a smaller home than what we would normally see in an R1. And recognizing that it would be a tiny home, again, it is a discretionary use for that. And not all of the homes are going to be that. I believe there's only 4 in this subdivision that we would be talking about. And we have already, again, set precedent for recognizing tiny homes when we approved the tiny homes in the commercial area.
Any further questions, comments from council on this? We also have people representing that can answer any of those questions. Councilor Merrill.
Perhaps we could just clarify the size of the so-called tiny home, because I know it's smaller, as you might think when you hear that name.
No, that's what I
Go ahead, just hit the mic there, press the button, it'll light up. Thanks, Todd.
Thanks, Mayor. Home in question, the one that's being referred to as tiny home, refer as our housing homes. There, and also my understanding of the bylaws that tiny homes are 400 square feet or under, which would be approximately 455 square feet. There will be 4 of the 29 units will be the elder style of home. We're going to get 400 square feet.
Merrill.
Just to clarify, that they're intended for a single occupant, right? Which is the greatest need for housing in town.
That's correct.
Thank you so much.
Any further questions, comments on 8.2? I guess that reached over to 8.3. Further questions? Any, so are we just on 8.2 now, or did we slip include 8.3 also there?
8.3 has a similar, it's the reason why there's 2 different ones is 8.3 references the development permit 02609 and the 8.3 is development permit 2612. So we had to do them separately,
Okay.
but it's similar content.
More comments there, okay. Okay, then moving to 8.3, any further questions on 8.3? It's discretionary use and discretionary, okay. Discretionary use on both, yeah. No further questions from council? Thank you. Thanks. Feel free to stick around for these exciting meetings. Let's get Councilor Raymond back.
Oh. I could have done that, sorry. Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yeah.
It's the procedure you vote on it on Wednesday.
Yeah, so it'll be voted on Wednesday. Yeah. I don't see any, based on what we saw tonight, I don't see any issues, there's slight clarification. Yeah, it'll be, the actual vote will take, and it just takes one vote, so that will take place Wednesday.
I mean, our new plan, the, hasn't been accepted yet. This would even mean.
Turn the button on the side first. Right side.
Eric, this wouldn't even be an issue, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
The reason why we are doing it is because
Because
there is
we're-
no definition of a tiny home in the law.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Need for our request for council decision 2026-27 contribution agreement to build strong fund, community stream funding. Community
This is more of an administrative procedure. Every year, this is annual funding that comes in. Before it used to be called gas tax, then it was called CCDF. Now this iteration of it is the Build Community Strong Fund. We have already incorporated this 1.65 million into our into our capital budget planning. This is more just a motion we need to give to MACA to say that, yes, we have accepted that. And anything to do with the contribution agreement in terms of reporting. And this is, again, a similar motion that we did with water sewer funding, O&M funding, and CPI.
Any questions, comments from council on this funding? It slowly ratchets up some of the funding that we do get more each year, so that's good to see that. Okay, 9.1, request from council decision, first reading of bylaw 2771/GEN/26. This is the amendment to the street naming, and this is coming out of the street naming committee. Do you want to give an update?
So the reason why this street naming is being proposed actually came from the emergency services side, and it required clarification on two particular streets. We have Upper Bombas and Lower Bombas, and sometimes when we get a call, we don't know which way we're going, and 30 seconds trying to decide can have an impact on an emergency situation. And same with Carmichael East and Carmichael West. Again, they're the same numbers, and trying to figure out which side of the street, the Carmichael subdivision that we need to go to is confusing. So the emergency services had requested this. We brought it to council and we discussed it. They agreed it would be a good idea. What they are recommending is, because Upper Bombas and that hill area has been referred to as Ptarmigan Hill, so they are proposing that Upper Bombas now be called Ptarmigan Way. And in terms of Centennial, it was a little more complicated. We want to keep the name, and that's what the committee has recommended, is to keep the name, but it's just going to be called Carmichael rather than East and West. And we're going to have to renumber the houses. So we're consolidating the name, and the actual physical location is going to be renumbered.
Question, comments from council and on either of that? Councilor Bear.
Were residents of Upper Bombas consulted or spoken to with regards to the name that's being selected?
So this is actually going to be part of the consultation process when we have to go through this. So if it goes through first reading on Wednesday, then we have 30 days. We do a public consultation, much like we did with Jack Shay.
Okay.
And then that will give people their input, opportunity to have input into the name, if they agree, disagree, what other alternatives there are. And then once if the public consultation, there's no significant opposition to it, then we will proceed with second and third reading. So yes, there is an opportunity.
Any further questions, comments on the street renaming? Seeing none. Thank you. Next, item number 10, departmental updates. We have 10.1 protective services. Mr. Larman missed, wasn't able to come to the last one, and the birthday boy decided he would give it tonight. So
Wanted everybody to give them a happy birthday.
Yeah, that's it. I actually didn't know when I requested this one, and then I was like, "Oh no, what have I done to myself?" But
anyway, happy birthday.
thank you.
Now you're gonna give your report.
All right. So yeah, I had to run it last week just because we were doing. Thank you for the approval on the MUI guidelines and mutual aid agreement. But we had a big wildland interface exercise last week as well. So just some updated stats. It was, I didn't want to say it to them to the ether, so I didn't have to go on vacation, but when I was lower California this past month, we had a few high profile incidents. There was an emergency at the airport that we worked with a number of different partners on That one, just put out some guidance as to other businesses that they operate radio mass as well. That basically still kind of hangs out there, mostly alarm calls. We've seen a distinct decrease in false alarms, which has been great. We do want to find out if it's just taking their alarms offline. I don't think that some of the bigger ones have, but it seems like it might be just based on some of the policies that we put in place around invoicing. That's what I'm hoping, that's what I'm trusting based on our discussions with some of the landlords. So that's looking really good. And then just the usual kind of spread of incidents as well. So, any questions around fire responses? Or some stats of all different parts there. Municipal enforcement, same thing, just regular call volumes. Animals continue to be one of our big ones. We've done lots of interventions, particularly around safety patrols and helmets with kids on their bikes. I'll go more into that in my quality report as well. A little bit more granularity to the types of responses. We try not to put too many details into some sort of positive ticketing because they get really excited, but we just we're not putting every single one of those had results and we don't want. Is the important part, in my opinion, our qualitative update. So we've spent a lot of time over the last month on wildfire and emergency preparedness. As we see the other activity in the Northwest Territories right now, has potential to get up and really serious really quickly. So we spent a lot of time working on our pre-planning, working with partners including the ECC, Inuvik Regional Hospital, Health and Social Services, Inuvik Gas, all sorts of different places just to make sure that critical infrastructure in particular is well protected, and that all of our systems can be deployed all at once. So throughout the month, we kind of scaled things up through June, training with engine operations, critical infrastructure protection, just to put the pre-plans in place, and then other sprinkler system setups. And then last Wednesday, we ran an exercise on that, but doing everything simultaneously. It went really well, as we were hoping. We had everything set up on our critical infrastructure, which is the ones we've identified as the hospital, the water reservoirs, and the pass, like the propane air storage system on Navy Road. We had everything set up and running in about an hour and a half from go. So all the equipment collated in storage and then put out with our pre-plans in place. We acquired some new equipment. You kind of see in the bottom right-hand corner. That's through our MOVI program for this year. One of the things we concentrate on is modularization and transportation so that we can get things out not going to a single location. We want to be able to divide and conquer and then put out a few skilled firefighters with different crews of varying levels of skills and ability, including businesses, governments, and other partners to be able to set up a lot of the systems. In the bottom right, that's kind of some of the equipment for palletization, modularization, but we've been able to put together a package that's a type 3 sprinkler, structural protection unit as it's called. It's palletized, fit onto small plane, individual trucks, all sorts of different permutations for Inuvik and then elsewhere as well, but mainly Inuvik. We've been expanding our capabilities on our sprinkler systems as well, just to ensure that we have enough sprinkler heads and we're relatively independent on that too. ECC has gotten a type 2 sprinkler trailer up here, which is a bit bigger, but we want to make sure that we are self-sufficient as well. I think that's an important thing as a municipality, especially a larger municipality where we're quite disconnected from the other regions. So that went really well. Our pre-plans are now entered into a number of different databases. Right now, all of our responders can access it through our main CAD system called Active 911. It brings up specific locations, and then they can click on each one. It gives a detailed inventory list, all the specific items they need to set up a system at that location, and then a further dialed down map in Google Earth. That just tells them where to put out everything as well. So lots of good information there. We made sure that we had to run all pumps simultaneously. Everything is working. Everything is nice and swimming pretty solid. So we're happy about that. It's a lot of work, a lot of preparation for that, but we're pretty confident in our plan. We haven't finalized our wildland urban interface plan. We're going to be revisiting with ECC in the fall. We have a draft one right now. It's basically just a living document, so it's always getting updated. Our current plan effectively takes into consideration all of our new plans. It goes into Google Earth and then within our CAD system as well. So basically everything is included there, including storage. You may notice in the back that we dropped some gravel in the back, made a pad there. We run some sea cans through our training yard, and that's going to have a lot of our storage for equipment too, because we're getting more than we can put into a single trailer. So just having more storage capacity is pretty big for us as well. We're going to kind of turn that to the fire department corner down there, just store a trailer there, other items, and suitcase, and neaten everything up in the back, basically. So that was pretty good. We're really happy with that. You can see in the middle picture there, that's just the preparation. So basically we pull the trailer up the sea cans and then everything gets offloaded, palletized, and sent into individual trucks to go to we participated in emergency management tabletop exercise as well during the ABE. It was mainly discussions and review of our emergency plan itself, going over some details with that, working with other partners in a number of different scenarios that we could experience, including mainly concentrating on weather events in the winter. We rolled out our emergency management app. It's been active and available, but then now it's directly linked through the Town of Inuvik app, which was just publicly rolled out in the past week. We're going to use it as an independent app where we can push out local messaging to residents in case of an emergency. We're not relying on GNWT or other government partners to put out messaging, and we can speak to citizens directly with that too. We've been spending a lot of time on seasonal maintenance. Our annual hose test, when we finished all our 4-inch supply line, we did about 3,200 feet of that, one length at a time. Moving on to our attack lines. We've been starting hydrant flow testing. We're working with infrastructure, like the Town of Inuvik infrastructure with that as well. Just getting some key data on some critical hydrants throughout town, mainly kind of concentrating on industrial areas and kind of junction points right now, just to know exactly what we're flowing at those different ones. And then we have our EVT, so our emergency vehicle technician is going to be coming up from Whitehorse. His truck is in the shop. So we're into that to be repaired, and then he'll be up and working with our staff to do our pump testing and our regular apparatus testing as well. So it's been pretty busy. We've been involved with Canada Day as well. We ran a barbecue with that. You can see the crew up in the top right there. And we put up the Jack Canada flag on Mackenzie. We had, really good time doing that. The weather was maybe not the best, but it was great. We had a good time. Any questions about IFD before we move on? Great. So we ran for the municipal enforcement. We ran our bike rodeo at the start of the month, and then that segued into our helmet drive as well. So we covered every single class within East 3 Elementary. They learned about bike safety, hand signals, wearing their helmets, all sorts of things just around bicycles. We had the RCMP participate with us as well on that, and it's another successful year for that. Every single kid participated in that got a bike helmet. We ordered more because we ran out. So we got more, and then we started a donation campaign as well. So we put it out on public Facebook groups for tourists coming out from driving to Dempster. That if they come by the fire hall, we'll trade them for a patch, a photo op, and if they give us a helmet. So our first people came in immediately after they could see the top right. Came by with a couple of helmets, and they got their photo op, and they got some patches, and they were super friendly. So we've had a few more rolling through that, and we're just going to keep on doing that because it seems to be somewhat successful. We've also started again our positive ticketing campaign, so you can see our first advertisement for that. We went and got ourselves some slushies ourselves. We have been handing it out whenever we can. We're making a point of pulling over every single kid we can see on the roads. We're doing our fire trucks, we're doing the municipal enforcement. Basically, everybody has a stack of coupons to give out. We started to get kids just coming into the days, but that's kind of not the direction we want to go with that. You don't go to the RCMP asking for a thing. So it's been pretty good. Kids know about it. We're spreading the word as much as we can and really, really pushing it. We're carrying around helmets in the trucks as well, so that we can give them out if we see kids on their own. One of the obvious ones we try to target kids with is one kid wearing a helmet, pull them over, give them a ticket in front of everybody else, and then if they go to the fire hall to get more or they fit in one of the helmets we have, we'll do. So we've been having a lot of fun with that. Kids are really enjoying it. We just want to see kids safe and wearing helmets everywhere. We've also been doing a lot of enforcement around ATVs. So we've created a new ATV intervention law specifically for ATVs, especially around helmets, safety, and speeding. Different types of helmets with that. Obviously, we're not giving those ones up for free because they're a lot more expensive, but we're trying to get kids especially into them, provided they're following the law. We don't do licensing for ATVs. That's under the Department of Motor Vehicles. So we're limited in terms of the access we can get in terms of licensing and things like that. It's been one of our pushes. And again, the Canada Parade and Barbecue, all of our staff participated in that, including municipal enforcement, and they were there mainly running the route on this one as well. Fire trucks get all the glory going to the parade itself, but municipal enforcement makes it happen. We do all the roadblocking, we do all organization around it, along with all the benefit stuff. Any questions around this one person? Oh, one big thing, a huge thing, 20+ dogs rehomed in the last month. There's one place in particular, we really concentrate enforcement on that. We didn't need to go under the Dog Act to do any seizures or anything else with that. We were able to rehome 12 puppies all at once through Arctic Paws, which was really good. And they all left with the Arctic Paws clinic occurring as well. But it's been quite a few animals with them as well. But yeah, lots of really good work from our staff around that, just because that's really tricky to do as well.
Just Brian on that.
Yeah.
Will that household then not be producing more puppies?
That is the hope. We can't control the dogs themselves, right? We obviously make sure that they're within the confines of 3 dogs. That's the maximum. So that's what we're holding them to. From my understanding, it's just males there right now. I might be wrong, but it's just one sex. That's the idea. We offered to cover neutering or spay. I think it's females actually. I can't remember. I'd have to check. We offered to cover kidnappings. They elected not to listen on that. We're still going to offer it as another clinic and we try to make that happen. And we're going to stay on top of this patient for enforcement action as well. It came down to a bit of negotiation, a bit of leverage through fines and some of the directions we could go with this. It's a kind of a tricky territory to navigate as well, because if somebody's lying to us about the number of dogs, and we can't get into a building, we're limited in our powers to, we can't go and get a search warrant per se. It's very difficult for us to do that. We'll have to work within the confines of the Dog Act. So there's a bit of a balance. We've had some neighbors that we have been working with all along that street, not just anybody in particular. And they've been really good about just expressing their concerns as well. So we don't expect it to get out of control again, but we are going to be staying on top of this one pretty hard just because it's a residential area. So, that's all I have for you.
Questions? Questions, comments, Councilor Romero?
Thanks for letting me ride the fire truck in Canada and throw candy.
Maybe
Maybe here.
I should say, if you see the bay doors open, we're trying to keep the bay doors open as much as possible during the day, especially with good weather. We want to encourage people to come by, take a poke in, especially tourists, especially residents, everybody. It's been really good to do that because they get to meet the staff, we get some nice air running through the building, and we try to concentrate on Fridays in particular, open bay door Fridays. So just to keep that available and make it a big push for us to do.
Good, thanks. Any further questions, comments for Brian? Councilor Dillis?
Brian, that fire break that was up there, like, I think I remember reading that there was supposed to be some trees left or like.
Oh, we stopped. So what happened on that one? We have a number of different banners. So we call them like, it's banner A, B, C, D, E, F. On Centennial, they had started to clear cut it. We thought they had stopped while we were doing an inspection with Daniel. And then I noticed it grabbed a few more meters. So we put a stop to it right away. It's not supposed to be clear cut in that spot. It's supposed to be crown spacing within there. So we had a meeting with the contractor just to discuss it in detail about what the requirements are on that. So the whole area in between, bounded by Bombas and the bypass, and then Wolverine in the bypass, or no, sorry, the other way. Bombas and the bypass very much. That whole area is just supposed to be crown spacing. They are well aware of that right now. And that's all they do. The crown space is basically just taking in any of the coniferous trees, and they pick one and then 5 meters radius, and then take out everything in between there, and basically makes 5 meters crown space.
I read it.
Yeah.
That's not what I was seeing up there.
They did now.
Now, have they done it?
Yeah, just in the last.
They started on that
Yeah,
part.
I just noticed it in
Yeah.
one section, so.
On some areas, it's supposed to be clear cut, like along long road right of ways. That's specifically clear cutting. So along the bypass itself, around the reservoir for a certain section, they've done that. Trying to think of the other areas. The block, we thought, so when I first saw it, I thought they were just creeping around the corner there, and that's where we had it. We had to kind of redesign the map just to create, so we didn't damage and like not damage, take down community spaces. So yeah, as soon as we realized what was happening there, Daniel and I both intervened and had a meeting with the contractor just to make sure. But 100%, they are just doing crown spacing. That's all they're doing behind there. And we made sure that they're going to leave a buffer zone as well, because I know that was one of the concerns from citizens around the Solvex, like the solar farm there. But there's no trees in front of you to see everything. So we've asked them to create a good 10 meters at least and just leave all the vegetation there. And with the crown spacing, they're not removing any deciduous trees with that as well. They're going to get some of the undergrowth, but it's the commit versus what our concern is. Those are the ones that really feel fires. So that's the idea. But yeah, where they will be doing a bit of along the right of way, like the access, like the utility right away going into the reservoir, is the one side has the road on it. And so we're going to get them to do similar clear cutting for a 10-meter space on the other side of that, I guess on the east side. And they'll go along there just to protect the main line coming from the reservoir. Because that was a bit of one of the critical infrastructure areas that we really need to protect.
Any further questions, comments? All right, thanks, Brian. Enjoy the rest of your birthday. Yeah. Item number 11, information items. We've got just a couple of information items. There's a meeting tomorrow at 1:30 with the Mackenzie Valley Mackenzie Valley Highway Consultation Team. Meetings in council chambers, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so any councilors want to attend that meeting? We just got contacted by them last week. They're also, I think, doing a public meeting tomorrow night, but they did book a meeting with us at 1:30 tomorrow. They have, I think, a couple of presentations, and it's all moving this Mackenzie Valley Highway project as quick as they can. I will certainly be asking questions like, are they starting from both ends? When are we looking at starting that? You know, when will they have completed the environmental review, just to get whatever information we can. Councilor Merrill.
Unfortunately, I can't attend the meeting with council tomorrow, but do you know where and when the public meeting is tomorrow evening?
I haven't seen it advertised.
I saw it advertised in Inuvik, but I haven't seen the Inuvik yet. So I can send them an email and ask them.
Thank you.
Oh, go ahead, Gary.
It's at Inuvik Hall at 7.
Ingram Hall?
Inuvik Hall,
Oh, you know what?
5 p.m.
I think I did see that. Yeah, five at Ingram Hall. Okay, thanks. And then the second information item, July 14th, and I think now it's 5:30?
5:30 to 7.
5:30 to 7. The Parliamentary Committee on Department of National Defense. We're meeting with them, and that will be in the community lounge at the complex upstairs. And we're just trying to find out whether that'll be a dinner meeting, given the time that the meeting initially was 5 to 6:30. Now they've bumped it a half an hour, so it'll be 5:30 to 7. And the Parliamentary Committee on DND is, I think it's all regular members, not the ministers. And what they do is provide feedback. So Cindy and I will definitely be attending, talking about the development of the FOL site, the $5 billion DND is looking at spending, and what we're doing in order to try to work with them on whether they want to do housing for camps to housing, things like the recreation and anything else that's, town related. And then in the bigger picture, looking at what can be done to ensure that much employment is local. We understand that, people building large steel hangars probably have to come from the outside. We don't have skilled workers here sitting around looking for work, but there's lots of other work, civil work, electrical work, mechanical work that can be done by contractors. And so we're hoping that they fill the 5% and more that they have identified. So the two information items I have. Any further? Okay, council concerns? Councilor Merrill?
So that, it doesn't fall on us, it's definitely government Northwest Territories. Do we have any update on the Peel River Ferry?
Well, they did rescue it yesterday, and they got it back to the ferry landing. I don't know, Councilor Wayman, have you heard anything?
No, I heard there's no cable maybe, but there's no confirmation on that.
There's no cable?
I heard there is. So it'll be another day. Or they said it'll be tomorrow sometime before.
But when the water levels are still high
Well, you
today?
know, if the water levels are high, they can't go anywhere.
Right,
How far did it get on its journey to freedom?
almost to McPherson. LJ said to pull it back. Luckily, they had a boat there that could do it. Otherwise, they've been in trouble. Yeah.
So we keep tourism high, and let them go.
So combination of high water and then cable snapped and it got loose. I don't know. I thought normally they had a break on there, but anyway, they got it back. Yeah. Okay, any further information or council concerns? Councilor Barrett?
I can continue to hear comments from community members. We don't have our life jacket loaner stations that have been operational yet, and including a comment that I got even today. Such a priority to get that out there. We've got the supplies, we've got the setup, should be easy breezy. If we can just prioritize and have that out as soon as possible, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, I know, Daniel, do you have an update on that? I know they were working on the stand that had to be rebuilt. Anything further on the life jacket?
I can speak to that. I'll ask him about it. So lifeguards are currently taking inventory of the jackets and one station is undergoing repairs. They're usually set to go the first week of July and should be on track for that. So they're just completing the inventory, making sure everything's done.
So definitely should be out this week, hopefully tomorrow. Any further council concerns? Councilor Gillis?
Those two dips on Main Street on Mackenzie, or how long do we have to live with them? Like that one in front of the church is brutal, and then the one in front of the other church is brutal.
Probably the two people that are responsible for that are both sitting here, so we should be able to get a good answer on both accounts. Daniel?
So the one, I actually don't know the one in front of the other church. I feel like I don't drive that way.
You don't drive it? Okay.
Yeah, I feel like I don't drive that way at all. I don't know the one on that, but I'll take a look at it this evening. The one in front of the Anglican church, though, they have attempted repairing that. Right now, well, they installed the cold mix, it failed. They did it again with a heavier equipment, same thing. So right now, the current thought is that the cold mix is probably contaminated. So the current conversation we're having with the contractor is to dig it all out. And we're going to put a little bit of gravel and then the cold mix again and see where it goes from there. But yes, we definitely have that on the work plan. They did it, but it failed. So, and they're going to go back out there to dig it out and attempt a better repair this time. But I really don't know about it. I don't know what we're talking about in front of the other church. Not on us.
Councilor Merrill?
What about right outside the IRC building where they put in the, took out the old utility, put in the.
Yes, the bridge, yes. So we had that conversation with the engineers because it was part of that project. So they were working on the deficiencies to try to finish that off. The idea would be to have the concrete done first, and then the paving or the cold mix. I would say it's the same cold mix material we have. We bought 4 truckloads last year. So if you failed with the small patch we just did, we need to figure out and see that we can actually use the material we have before we then do a bigger repair. But in my thoughts, I will probably go with the concrete sidewalk first on that one for the bridge, and then afterwards we'll take a look at the actual road. Looks like the contractor has.
The one in front of the church was really nice. And I went 27 above and they laid the cold mix on and it was a little hot. And then it rained, torrential rains, and then went a little soft. We got a leak somewhere there. It's, as you see, it's sinking again.
Yeah.
I don't understand what's going on, like really. It was very solid, very set up. We'll strip it out again. Repack it and put a 2-inch lifted cold mix on it. I'm not sure if the contaminated cold mix is an issue. I think the heat had a bigger issue. It's 30 above. And it just brought the oils right to the top. I've never seen that. So I don't know if it's why it's contaminated material or the new oil that they changed because of the bio stuff that's going on. I don't know. And the one at the church down there, I don't know, we'll go look at that. And it is a dip, just failing there too. So that could be a culvert issue again. And the one at the IRC, I was waiting to hear if they're gonna do concrete and then we'll fix, we graded it up with the loaders a bit. But the one at the church is a big anomaly because it was 110% compacted. And it's still failing right now. It's failing again. It just keeps going
It
down.
almost seemed like like once you had the top was good for a day, and then it almost seemed like it
Well, culvert's good
hours.
because we actually went through the culvert again because we thought maybe it separated, but it's good. So we got no answer. Tear it out again, try it again. But it seems to me like the whole road's sinking down there. If you look at it, it used to be level, now it looks like it's going like this. So, well,
I don't
I'll
know.
course it again and try it again. And you guys can,
That's frustrating. I mean, the good thing about it does slow traffic down on the
Yeah.
street.
I honestly think the heat was the biggest issue because it was so hot. It was really hot. We even left it to set up and it just got worse. So,
So, I mean, with that, I don't know much about it, but if you have it in weather, temperature is good, does it set better than not fail in hot weather? Like,
when it's not as hot, it sets better, yeah.
yeah.
When it's hot, it brings up this. I don't know if this new oil they got in there is really weird. We're used to cold mix being a little harder. This stuff's a lot softer.
How's it goes?
So does that like change the budget or does it increase the budget or what does that look like? Because whose fault is that? How does it work?
So it's not in the capital. This is not a capital project. It's in the O&M. So we do have a budget line for gravel road repair and for road repairs generally. So that's where that would come out of. So currently they worked 3 days out there right now to get that done, and then it failed. So I actually mentioned it to the contractor as well when I spoke to him on the weekend. I said we're gonna have to account for the material that we've used, and I mentioned it to the SAO as well. But they did say we could potentially use that material for something else, so it won't be waste in terms of that material. But in terms of the actual work to get it done again, we would have to speak to them and work out the solution that works for everybody.
Okay, thanks, Daniel. Any other council concerns? Councilman
You
Collins?
might want to stay there. No, I've heard, there's certain rumors going on in the business community right now, and I don't know enough about it. I wanted to bring it and ask. The first one is, there's some issues going on with the sewage lagoon as far as the materials that were provided.
So I had a detailed conversation with the SAO about this earlier today. The inventory was completed and everything was good with all that was supplied. They wanted to start assembling, and there was an issue with dimension. So the dimension on the drawings that was sent to the contractor that supplied all the material asked for 6,000 millimeters, right? And then that's what they supplied. Okay. So when the contractor went to site, it's about 5,000, it's about 600 millimeters short or off. So the drawings and the reality, there's about 600 millimeters difference, right? So, and they were just trying to work out, okay, so how do they build this structure? It's going to be a little bit bigger than the existing foundation. And what's the solution out there? Do we have to cut this material to fit, or do we build something extra to make it fit at the size it's already been produced at? So it's not There's no, it's a regular, like every other construction. You get there, there's always something, you have an RFI, you deal with it, you move on. There's no issues. I wouldn't call it an issue. It's just like every other construction project we have out there.
Yeah, okay, no, that's good. I just wanted to clear the air on that. And so the inventory was done and what was provided was spec.
Yeah.
So then now the drawings come out and just something didn't.
Yeah, the dimension of that particular structural member was a little bit off. Yes. But the inventory was done by the contractor and the engineers in terms of all the materials that was provided, and they were all happy. But then they got to start building, and then they noticed, oh, this is 600 millimeters off. And then we looked at, I was here on Saturday. I reviewed the drawing, the shop drawing, the item list itself, just look at where the error came from. They provided what they were told to provide.
So where did the error come from?
The drawings. I don't want to say the drawings, but ultimately the dimension of the drawings was a little bit off. And that's it.
Okay. So the drawings were done by ACOM?
Yes.
Just to be clear, 600 is here, 60 would be here, right?
600 millimeters.
Yeah, so 600 millimeters is 2/3 of a meter.
Yeah.
There's 1,000 millimeters or 100 centimeters in a meter. So 600 millimeters would be 2/3 of a meter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not this one, it's this one.
Yeah, oh, no. This is the one. That's okay.
I just want to make clear that if it was 600 and not
That's a big-
6.
Well, I guess in the end, it's the financial implications. What's gonna happen? Yes, it's gonna be RFIs. Yes, it's gonna be, you usually incur costs when RFIs start coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think at some point, I mean, we gotta just start looking at a way, if it's a big deal, if there's somebody that fall, or if, you know what I mean, if somebody's gonna take some sort of maybe not sort of blame, but I mean, somebody's gotta be at fault. If it's costing the taxpayers a whole bunch of extra money, then we don't just look the other way. I just want that slip though. People in the business community are talking right now. There's a couple of projects. And I just want to say, look, before we do anything, let's just get the proper information.
Yeah. You know, like I said, I was here on the weekend, I was here on Saturday. I discussed this in detail with the SAO earlier today. Printed out all the drawings, printed out all the shop drawings, all of that stuff, sat down here trying to figure out where the miscommunication could have come from. And it's just that and that's not an excuse, but I wasn't here when this drawing was generated. This has been on the books 4 or 5 years ago, the drawings. So I don't even know if the engineers may decide to visit or not. But the drawings were made. There was that dimension on the drawing, and that was what was sent. That was what was tendered, right? And that was what the material was built to. So, but of course, there's a little bit of a dimension error there. I would just need to figure out how to rectify that on site now that we're on site. It's construction.
Daniel, can you by Wednesday let us know what the mitigation was on the 600 millimeters and whether that is going to be an additional cost?
Right now, the last phone call I had before the end of the day today was with the contractor, and he's currently thinking to just cut it. That's the easier option, to cut it, and then they just have a cold galvanizing done on the cut edge.
Okay.
And then he just installs it on site. But yeah, we had discussed like 3 different options of how to just go, which, like I said, it's every construction project goes through RFIs, and which, like, you guys are all aware of, and it's just a normal part of construction.
Great. Thanks,
Sorry, if
Daniel.
I can just, so to clarify, to answer your question, what was sent out in the tender and specs is what was delivered,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so hopefully that'll clarify.
Yeah, no, there's a bridge somewhere, there's a gap somewhere in
Clearly.
that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And if it's not that big of a deal, then that's just what I wanted to clarify by asking about it. If it's a minor inconvenience for the construction and there's money in the contingency, well, so be it. But if it's a bigger deal and we're sugarcoating it, then that's what I don't want.
Oh, this is exactly, I shared all the emails back and forth with the SAU today. That was sent back and forth with the contractor, with the engineers and all that. So, it's part of.
Okay, thanks, Daniel. Item number 13, in-camera items. We just need a motion to go in camera. Moved by Councilor Romero, second by Councilor Parrott. All in favor?